In the swirling vortex of NBA speculation, where every tweet is dissected and every whisper can ignite a firestorm, how agonizingly familiar must it feel for the loyal fans of the Chicago Bulls to once again find themselves caught in a cruel limbo, clinging to the fate of a homegrown talent whose future hangs precariously in the balance? Just when a glimmer of certainty appears, a new wave of questions crashes down, threatening to pull a beloved player into the relentless current of the trade market. Is this truly a moment of reprieve? A sign that Ayo Dosunmu, the gritty, determined guard from the South Side, is finally safe, destined to remain a cornerstone of Chicago's future? Or is it merely the calm before the storm, a temporary pause in the inevitable before the harsh realities of the NBA's business side force, yet another painful farewell? For a franchise desperately trying to chart a new course, the saga of Ayo Dosunmu isn't just about one player. It's a microcosm of their entire rebuild, a high-stakes gamble on youth potential, and the ever-elusive promise of a brighter tomorrow. The Chicago Bulls are undeniably at a crossroads, a franchise in the throes of a long-overdue, yet still unfolding strategic reset. The days of chasing immediate contention with aging stars and ill-fitting pieces appear to be fading into the rearview mirror, replaced by a clear, albeit challenging, commitment to building around a younger, more athletic core. The recent moves, particularly the emphasis on a dynamic backcourt led by the promising Coby and the intriguing Josh Giddey, signal a profound philosophical shift. This isn't just about acquiring new talent. It's about cultivating a specific style of play, one defined by blistering pace, fluid positional versatility, and a relentless defensive intensity. This new vision, however, casts a long shadow over the existing roster, forcing difficult questions about every player's fit, value, and long-term viability. The most glaring example of this strategic pivot has been the ongoing saga surrounding Nikola Vucevic, a veteran whose traditional skill set increasingly clashes with the team's modern aspirations, making his eventual departure feel less like a possibility and more like an inevitability. Amidst this landscape of change and uncertainty, the fate of Ayo Dosunmu has been a constant source of discussion and debate among the Bulls' faithful. A local product, Dosunmu embodies the heart and hustle that Chicago fans adore. His journey from Illinois to the NBA, culminating in him donning the Bulls jersey, has created a deep emotional connection with the fan base. So, when news broke regarding his immediate future, it sent a ripple of both relief and continued apprehension through the city. According to the highly respected Casey Johnson of CHSN, a trusted voice in Bulls reporting, the expectation is that Ayo Dosunmu will indeed be in a Bulls jersey when the new season tips off. This update, while seemingly straightforward, carries immense weight. It suggests that, at least for now, the front office is not actively shopping him, and they intend for him to be part of the initial rotation as the team embarks on its new chapter. But as any seasoned observer of the NBA knows, expected to be on the roster is a far cry from guaranteed long-term future. Dosunmu is entering the final year of his contract, a precarious position for any young player. This contractual status immediately raises the specter of whether he could become an in-season trade deadline candidate, much like the aforementioned Nikola Vucevic. The comparison is apt, albeit with different implications. Vucevic's situation is driven by a desire to shed salary and move on from an expiring high-cost veteran who doesn't fit the new timeline. Dosunmu's situation, however, is more nuanced. If the Bulls are unable to agree on a long-term extension before the deadline, or if the team's performance dictates a further shedding of assets for future draft capital, then Dosunmu, a young player with valuable two-way potential, could become an attractive trade chip for a contending team seeking depth, or a team looking to acquire a promising talent on a team-friendly deal. The question then becomes, do the Bulls truly plan to keep him long-term, investing in his development as part of their core, or is this simply a strategic pause before a potential mid-season pivot? Ayo Dosunmu's value to the Chicago Bulls and to potential suitors is multifaceted. He brings a unique blend of athleticism, defensive tenacity, and improving offensive skills. His ability to guard multiple positions, apply relentless on-ball pressure, and disrupt passing lanes makes him a valuable asset on the defensive end. Offensively, he has shown flashes of being a capable slasher, a developing shooter, and a solid secondary playmaker. While his offensive game still requires refinement, particularly in terms of consistent shooting and decision-making, his work ethic and dedication suggest he has the capacity to grow. For the Bulls, keeping him would mean retaining a homegrown talent who understands the culture, provides defensive energy, and fits the mold of the athletic, versatile players they are now prioritizing. He's a player who can thrive in an up-tempo system, pushing the ball in transition and attacking closeouts. His energy and defensive motor are infectious, qualities that are invaluable for a team trying to establish a new identity. However, the in-season trade candidate narrative persists for a reason. The Bulls' front office has demonstrated a willingness to make tough decisions, prioritizing long-term flexibility and future assets over sentimental attachments. If Dosunmu's contract situation remains unresolved, or if his performance doesn't quite align with the team's long-term vision for starting role, his expiring deal makes him an ideal candidate to be moved for draft picks or younger prospects who better fit the new timeline. This is where the strategic chess match truly begins. Do the Bulls see him as a foundational piece, worthy of a significant long-term investment, or as a valuable commodity that can be leveraged to acquire further assets for their rebuild? The answer likely depends on his development over the coming months and the team's overall trajectory. This is precisely where the insights from the CHGO Bulls podcast, featuring Bleacher Nation's lead Bulls writer Elias Schuster, become invaluable. The discussion around Dosunmu, Vucevic, Patrick Williams, and other key players isn't just idle chatter. It's a deep dive into the complex calculus of roster construction in the modern NBA. The trade machine fun they engage in isn't merely hypothetical, it's a practical exercise in exploring the various avenues the Bulls could pursue to accelerate their rebuild. When discussing potential trade ideas involving Dosunmu, the focus isn't just on what the Bulls get, but what they give up and the strategic implications of such a move. For instance, any trade involving Dosunmu would likely target future draft capital or young, high-upside prospects who align with the team's new emphasis on athleticism and versatility. A deal for Dosunmu might see him go to a playoff contender in need of a defensive-minded guard off the bench, or a team looking to add a young, cost-controlled asset to their rotation. Similarly, discussions around Nikola Vucevic would revolve around shedding his salary and acquiring assets, even if those assets are merely second-round picks or expiring contracts to create cap space. The goal there is clear: financial flexibility and a clean slate. The most intriguing aspect of these trade discussions, however, often revolves around Patrick Williams. As a former lottery pick, Williams represents the highest upside among the Bulls' young core outside of White and Giddey. Any trade involving Williams would be a monumental decision, signaling a complete commitment to a new direction. The podcast likely explores scenarios where Williams, with his tantalizing but inconsistent potential, could be packaged with other assets to acquire a more established young star, or to move up in the draft for a truly transformative talent. The underlying theme in all these hypothetical trades is the Bulls' relentless pursuit of a coherent, future-oriented roster. They are no longer interested in building a team that is good enough to make the playoffs. They are striving for a team that can genuinely contend for a championship in the years to come, even if it means enduring short-term pain. From the fans' perspective, this period of uncertainty is a roller coaster of emotions. There's the hope that homegrown talents like Dosunmu will blossom into stars and remain with the team for their entire careers. There's the anxiety that beloved players might be traded away for future assets that may or may not pan out. And there's the frustration of a prolonged rebuild, where patience is constantly tested. Yet, there's also a growing sense of cautious optimism. The Bulls' front office, for the first time in a long time, seems to have a clear vision, even if that vision requires difficult decisions and the occasional heartbreaking farewell. The commitment to youth athleticism and a defined playing style offers a tangible path forward, a stark contrast to the aimless wandering of recent years. as the Chicago Bulls navigate this pivotal juncture, with Ayo Dosunmu's immediate future seemingly secure, but his long-term fate still shrouded in mystery, what do you make of their strategic pivot? Do you believe that holding onto Dosunmu, at least for now, is the right move to foster continuity and development, or should the Bulls be aggressively seeking to leverage his value for future assets? And how do you see the ongoing trade discussions around players like Vucevic and Patrick Williams shaping the ultimate trajectory of this new-look Bulls team? Share your insights, your hopes, and your boldest predictions for the Windy City's basketball future in the comments below. And if you're as gripped by the high-stakes drama and intricate chess moves of NBA roster building as we are, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exclusive reports and dynamic analysis that keeps you on the cutting edge of every major storyline in the league. Your passion fuels our coverage.